I had a couple of people kind of laughing earlier at that, so.
Yep. Excellent. So now it's whichever you're live.
All right, let's do this. Good morning. I would like to call to order this meeting of the Fremont County Board of Commissioners and ask you to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Bell.
Present.
Commissioner McFall.
Present.
Commissioner Grantham. Here. County Attorney Jackson.
Present.
County Manager Childs.
Present. Thank you. Let's move on to the approval of today's agenda. It is a brief agenda today. As a special meeting, we have 3 different business items.
Madam Chair, I move to approve the agenda.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve today's agenda. Roll call.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham. Aye. Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Old business for consideration, we have none. We'll jump right into new business. First item on our agenda today is the FFA Booster Club. Florence is requesting the issuance of a malt, Venice, and spirituous special events permit at Pathfinder Park for an event on December 10th from 4 p.m. to midnight. And we have with us this morning Chrissy Hollenbeck. Good morning, Chrissy.
Good morning, how are you?
Good. So you want to tell us what's going on?
Wholesome contacted us and asked if we would like to do a fundraiser for FFA Booster and do their alcohol for their Christmas party.
All right. Do you want to talk a little bit about who will be serving?
There is 5 Booster Club parents who are tip certified that have served the alcohol, who are in charge of serving the alcohol for that, for the club.
And they already are tip certified?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
And how will you ensure that no one under the age of 21 will be drinking?
We will give them bands, and they will have bands and tickets is what they'll have. So.
Okay.
And
Questions
of
for the
course,
applicant?
card them.
Thank you.
Only one. You have folks at the doors to make sure alcohol doesn't come in or leave.
Yes, yep. Wholesome had said that they would provide to make sure nobody goes outside, so, yeah. And then we'll obviously make sure no one goes outside too.
All right, thank you. Anything else?
I think you covered it.
Okay, let's turn to our staff for a staff report. We have Talia Smith with us from the Clerk's Department. Good morning, Talia.
Good morning. Florence FFA put in their application with the clerk's office on November 3rd for an event on December 10th, which does not meet the county's 45-day guideline. I do want to note that the last special events permit FFA applied for also did not meet that guideline. They have provided our department with all the necessary documentation, the $100 check to cover the county fee. It was also reviewed by the county attorney, and FCDPHE and the sheriff's office do recommend approval.
Okay, thank you. Let me ask our county attorney, do we need to do a waiver of the filing deadline for this, or if we're going to head that way, or just an approval also indicates a waiver?
I don't believe we charge a fee for a late filing on these, so no, you don't need to do it specifically.
Okay, thank you. Questions, gentlemen?
No, just maybe get the applications in quicker on the next event. So
No, I agree.
if that's twice. That's it.
Timely applications are appreciated. And then maybe we don't have to do so many special meetings, so, all right, thank you. Anything further?
Just a motion if you want one.
I am prepared.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the issuance of a malt, Venice, and spirituous special events permit at 6655 State Highway 115 in Florence for an event on December 10th, 2022 from 4 p.m. to 12 a.m. for the FFA Booster Club.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve this particular malt, Venice, and spirituous special events permit as previously described for the FFA Booster Club. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Chrissy. Up next, we do have a public hearing that is scheduled for 10 a.m. It is 10:04. So we're going to go into our public hearing. This item is for the proposed 2023 Fremont County budget, and we have with us this morning Sean Sutton, the Fremont County Budget and Finance Officer, who has a presentation for us. Good morning, Sean.
Morning.
For us and the millions watching around the world.
Good morning, yes,
The millions.
millions. Before we get started, I just wanted to take just a minute and thank the commissioners, all the department heads, and elected officials who assisted me in this budget process. Being the first, I greatly appreciate all of you. Tammy, thank you as well. The proposed budget came together quite nicely, and look forward to presenting it for you today.
All right, thank you, Sean.
Did you all take your no-dos? I provided it for you.
I'm
We've
excited.
done-
I've been waiting for this.
We've
All
done
right.
this before.
Good deal. So the 2023 proposed budget for Fremont County, I'd like to start with the budget strategies for 2023. So budget strategy-wise, these are similar to what we've had in the past, provided by our previous finance and budget manager and county manager, Sonny Bryant. So if it looks familiar, a lot of these were used from a previous presentation. But to start, we want to provide quality services to Fremont County citizens. Second, provide a fiscally responsible county budget. Third, preserve county assets. Fourth, to maintain fund balance. And fifth, to address increased requests and increased expenses throughout the county. Next.
Okay.
The review of revenues. So we are projecting a decrease in revenues this year. To start, it'd be a 1.2% decrease in assessed evaluations from 2022. We're estimating that decrease in revenues of $55,000 for the general fund, $2,000 in airport, $6,000 for the Department of Transportation, and $18,000 for the Department of Human Services, which total approximately $80,000. These items are due to the rebates and abatements that came through the county. We are also projecting retail sales tax to slightly decrease from the 2022 estimates, in addition to the projecting of the auto use tax collection to also slightly decrease from the 2022 estimates. Now, the estimates we all reviewed, these are conservative numbers for revenues. The counties always take the position that a more conservative revenue line and then full expenses produces an end number that we all would prefer to see. The last item on this, I guess, revenue is we did in 2022, construction use tax was eliminated in 2022 around June and was not included in the 2023 budget. Historically, those range from around $200,000 to $400,000 a year, so you won't see that in the 2023 budget. Next slide would be the review of the expenses themselves. So the county is proposing a salary scale increase to the entry level pay. We're proposing annual step increase in accordance with our salary scale, and then the third item is minimal increase in health insurance premiums, which was about 2%. So I feel like this is an important expense line item to kind of pick out these three. Keeping the quality staff that we have here is so important. Everybody's looking for quality individuals. That's, private sector included in that. And by offering increased wages and the step increases, I feel like, or we felt like when we did the budget, that would keep our current people here. So addressing the fourth line item would be addressing building improvements that are needed in various county-owned buildings. Just like your house, you need to continue to keep it up. If there's deferred maintenance in these items, what may cost you a couple hundred or $1,000 this year could be very detrimental in the future. So keeping the county buildings up to specs is obviously very important. Fifth on there, keeping up with increased operational costs, which all southern Colorado is feeling at this point. Building reserves to be used for matching bridge replacement grants, looking at other opportunities, grant opportunities for various projects within the community. And then as we move forward in 2023, we'll continue to monitor national and local recession factors. These recession factors historically include increasing interest rates, stock market stability, unemployment levels, and then other inflation factors. Next, just we'll touch on the American Rescue Plan Act, or ARPA. Fremont County Commissioners elected in 2020 to declare the full amount as lost revenue, and therefore the full award is eligible to be used for government services under the Treasury's final rule. Fremont County received a total of roughly $9.3 million. To date, we've awarded $3.7 million and have a remaining estimated balance at $5.6 million. These funds went into departments and other local projects.
Sean, if I could interrupt you just for a moment.
Yes, ma'am.
I just would like to point out that I think about half of what has been spent to date has gone to either special districts here in Fremont County, or it has gone to the grant program for small businesses, nonprofits, and churches that we've had here in Fremont County. So I just want people to know that. I think we've done a really good job of sharing the funding that we have with those who did not receive any.
Have to agree.
Thank you.
And I think now that we have a website, we're actually going to try to get a page on there that details what, where it's been spent and et
Yes.
cetera.
Yep.
Perfect. Thank you for the input. Next. So the 2023 Fremont County projects, one, we've applied for grants for the Grandview Bridge construction project. Debbie? This is in the engineering phase, and we're excited to get started in 2023, working with CDOT. So this is a big project that we're excited about.
Well, we are still finishing up the Rhodes Avenue project, so I think we've got some time. Because otherwise, we may not be able to get out.
Start early.
so.
Preferably not early.
Very good. We're also building the pavilion at Pathfinder Park. Again, we've got bids out and received back, so contractor is working on that. Again, getting final numbers in, final specs on that. Hope to get that underway and completed in 2023. New playground equipment for Pathfinder Park has also been approved. That'll be a nice project to add there as well. New benches for the Howard Park area. Equipment and vehicle upgrades through various departments, including Sheriff and Department of Transportation. Housing assessment study and a broadband study. The picture that you'll notice, the only one in my packet here is of the Howard Park. Really thought that turned out nice, and with adding those benches, the kids will have a place to play, and parents will have a place to read a book and watch their kids. So, very nice project.
If I might, right quick, just to point out that a lot of this is being done with ARPA funds too. So that's some of the uses we've decided to upgrade our parks for the people to use. So that's where some of that ARPA money is going as well.
Thank you. The next slide is the property tax revenue assessed from fiscal year 2016 to the budget year 2023. So you'll notice each 2 years go out and reassess. So several of the numbers are very close. Starting in 2016, you'll see we started at roughly 5.3 million. 2018, that grew to 5.4. Increase to $6 million in 2020, and then we're looking at close to 7, 6.9 in 2022, and then the budget year 2023 came in at $6,852,000. So again, just to rehash, that $80,000 difference is the rebates and abatements on that. Next, retail sales tax from 2016 to 2023. This particular scale, start off at 2016, collecting $4.5 million. Nice increases, as you see. Some large increases that I've noted from 2019 to 2020 was nearly $1 million. You've got $500,000 between 2020 and 2021, and then another $1 million in 2022. So as you look at these, the projection or the budgeted in 2023, again, making sure revenue is conservative, we've budgeted $7.9 million for 2023, just to see if 2021 and 2022 were kind of outliers, or will Fremont County continue to see these large increases as year over year? The next would be the auto use tax. So auto use tax, 2016 was the first year that Fremont County broke $1 million at $1,028,000. Had an increase to 2018. That was the high at $1.2 million until we hit 2021, where we hit $1.5 million in collections. That number is tracking about $100,000 less for 2022. And again, our budget of 1.175 is more conservative based on the average of 2017, 18, 19, and 20. Again, is this kind of a new normal, closer to that 1.5 million, 1.4 million? We're taking the more conservative path here and estimating or budgeting 1.175. Next, excuse me. The beginning balance for funds, we've identified 4 here. The general fund, you'll see pretty robust. Started 2018 with 2.5 million in general fund. That is the beginning balance, and then the beginning balance of 2023 will be sitting at 7.3 million. The next is Department of Transportation. Started at roughly 1.1 million or 1.5 million. Will end or begin 2023 with about the same, 1.5 million. Sheriff had an increase, doubling from 1.5 to nearly 3 million in 2023 budget. And then Department of Human Services had nice growth, steady growth from 2018 to 2023, 1.1 million. And then their estimated beginning balance for 2023 is about 2.5 million. So like to see those not sharp angles or turns up. Those are a little bit more consistent. But as you can see, those are the 4 that we've kind of identified in this particular graph. Next is general fund, total revenues. So again, this kind of gives us a little bit of history, so kind of where we've been and where we're going. 2016, 11,300,000 is where we kind of started. That tracked up to 2020 at 16,639,000. You'll see 2021 had a decrease of roughly 800,000 to 15,856,000. Estimated year in, we're at 15,715,000, so roughly 100,000, again behind. And then we're being conservative with the 2023 budget at 14,798,000. The next is the summary of funds. So you'll read this kind of from left to right and then from top to bottom, starting with, just the individual fund name. And then you've got the 2023 beginning balance that we went over a few of these items in a couple slides ago, but that would be your beginning balance. The estimated revenue is the next line item. Then that would be the total available budget. We have expenditures and then the ending balance for 2023 estimates. I won't go through each individual line item, but as you can see, the beginning balance for Fremont County is strong at $33,500,000. We've got estimated revenues at $55,895,000 for a total available budget of $89,395,000. So total expenditures for 2023 total $62,330,000 for an ending balance of $27,065,000. You may be asking yourself, there's roughly a $6.5 million runoff there. A lot of those are capital expenditures. As we previously identified, it would be the Pathfinder parks. It would be the equipment that we're purchasing for DOT. It's those projects that could be eliminated in the time of need. But since the county is doing quite well, we feel those capital expenditures can be done at this time and supported. Next, so to go along with the previous chart, we've charted out the proposed revenues, just identifying 25% of our revenues come in from sales and use tax, 11% is property tax, and then intergovernmental make up 26%, which are revenues received from federal, state, and other local governments. These sources are from grants, shared revenue, and then PILT.
And for the millions watching around the world, PILT, payment in lieu of taxes. Those are monies we get from the federal government for the public lands we have in the county that we are not able to collect property tax on.
Thanks, Dwayne. Yes. The 2023 proposed expenditures, again, by fund. So we've got general fund at 26%, sheriff at 21%, other funds, which include the Fair Board, livestock, PILT, and capital expenditures come in at 21%, Department of Human Service at 16%, Department of Transportation 10%, Department of Health 4%, and then airport fund at 2%. So next steps, we're scheduled to have a budget adoption December 19th, 2023, where resolutions will be presented to the commissioners. The 2023 draft budget has been posted to the county website for your review for the millions out there at www.fremontco.com. I would welcome you to look at those. And then if you need a paper copy, there is one available for review in the Administration Department, 615 Macon, room 101. That really kind of wraps up my presentation today, and if there's any questions out there.
I think that last slide.
Oh,
Microphone.
That last slide, Tammy, is, should be 2022, correct?
2022.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Yes.
And that's a Monday when we'll be doing that. That's where we moved the regular meeting. I think that was on the 13th.
Yes.
And we moved it up to the next week on the 19th. But oddly enough, I think the meeting in December of next year is also going to be on the 19th, Tuesday the 19th. So that actually still works.
I was planning ahead.
There you go.
Sorry, I didn't catch that.
So not a question for you, but a comment I would like to make, Sean, and that is, when you started talking, you thanked everyone for their assistance in helping put this together. I would say that the process this year was pretty much seamless, even though we did change horses midstream. Sunny Bryant was here as our budget and finance officer, and she was on her way out the door. We needed to find someone who could come in and take the reins and take over, and fortunately, we found you. And you answered the call. You were more than up to the call, and it has, like I said, it's just been a seamless transition, and I wanted to thank you so much for that. And just to make the note that the one issue that we did have with our budget this year had nothing to do with changing personnel. It had everything to do with the cyber attack that happened to us in August. That put us behind by at least 6 weeks, if not a couple of months. And so the fact that we were so far behind in August, September, trying to catch up in October, here we are in November, and we're here. And so I just wanted to say that is in major part thanks to you. I want to let you know that we recognize that and we appreciate your hard work.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything?
I have a couple of comments just to kind of make it known. The construction use tax that was referred to that we did away with, the reason that is because people that are buying goods, boards, building material, they're getting charged tax where they buy it, when they buy it. So essentially, they were almost getting double taxed at some point. So we wanted to get rid of that. Before, there was a voucher given when they got their building permit, and they'd take it to the stores and they would honor that and not charge them the tax, but that kind of quit. So that's why that went away. The cities have also done away with theirs, I believe. So that went away, but the taxes are still being paid through the retail outlets. The other thing is, as the population grows in Fremont County, the services have to grow as well. We still have the same amount of miles of roads, but there's more traffic on some of those roads, and it gets a little harder. It kind of gets tricky for us to work on these budgets because of the demand. The money doesn't go up near as quick as the demand goes up, so it makes it pretty tough at some points, and there's kind of a balancing act in there. And then I hope that the retail tax, that's a pretty conservative number, I think, but the supply chain is already messed up. And I just caution that if the rail goes on strike like they were going, that's really going to mess up the supply chain and the retail sales and stuff. So we do have a lot that we have to watch for next year's budget and be very careful about the way we move ahead, because we're in good shape now, but that could go away very rapidly. So we got to keep our eyes on that all year long.
Well said.
Just a couple comments.
Do it.
It's been great working with you, Sean. Appreciate all the work you're doing, and as the chairman mentioned, the catching up in the middle of our switching horses here in the middle of a cyber attack, et cetera. So great job. Thank you for all the work you put into this. Just note a few things on the for the millions watching, things that were mentioned. Such as the taking the conservative approach. This is how we do things here. Underestimating, hopefully, revenues, and maybe slightly overestimating expenses. Just to try to keep that the numbers at the end of the year looking better than expected, but always having our mind on the fact that things may not be as good next year, and being ready for that. It's interesting looking at these numbers and seeing our declining, maybe at best stable revenue stream over the course of time, except for a couple spikes, in 2020, 2021. Things are actually pretty consistent on that slow climb. So at best, maybe stable, maybe not even keeping up with inflation over the last couple of years, so stable maybe at best. But we do have to increase and you mentioned this, our wages to keep up with the private market. Both public and private sector are struggling to keep good employees. Fremont County, I think we've done a great job last year and this year of making the case to keep those wages up, to try to keep people employed here. Another point, just on I think I mentioned already the ARPA, as far as we're going to remain accountable to the public on how we're spending that money. and we're going to be very transparent on our website and how we're doing that. I wanted to detail just a little bit because one of the bullet points was about the vehicle upgrades. And we talked about the Department of Transportation, and I don't know if we specifically mentioned the Sheriff's Office. But those are probably two of the biggest things that the three of us and with you have been struggling to make sure we take care of in this next budget year. Because the Department of Transportation and their big equipment, they don't give those things away when you have to buy them new. Talking hundreds of thousands of dollars in many cases for some of these big pieces of equipment. And we're able to actually get a long ways this year on making up for some of the stuff that we haven't been able to buy over several, well, maybe the last decade or more.
Or more.
And the Sheriff's Office as well. They've got the biggest part of the fleet in the county, and they really work those patrol vehicles to death. And they cycle through them, and they beat them up, and we haven't been real successful at getting a good rotation on all those vehicles. And I think working with Sheriff Cooper and is it Captain Green?
Yes.
Captain Green, plus our fleet manager. We are looking at, I think this year, finally getting control of that and getting back on a schedule where we can plan for a rotation of that fleet. It costs money up front, and it's going to cost us money every year, but it's the best way so we don't have that 20, 30 car bill all at once sometime in the future. So I think I'm real encouraged by what we're planning to do for this coming year with the Department of Transportation and the Sheriff's Office. Given the underestimating of revenue and overestimating of expenses, we're still looking pretty good, and we have a plan moving forward on some of these things. And so it's a very encouraging budget given the circumstances. So thanks again, Sean. Appreciate it.
Thank you all.
All right, this is a public hearing. I will ask at this time if there's anyone here who would like to rise and speak or question about our budget for 2023. All right, seeing none, we are going to close this public hearing. This is, I will note, a non-action item for this board, so we have no motions that we need to take. The final item on our agenda today is an executive session review of the status of our county manager search with Columbia Limited, Section 24-6-402 4EI or 1 CRS. And we have with us this morning Andrew Gorgay from Columbia Limited. So he also will be invited into the executive session. And I believe we need a motion for this.
We do, Madam Chair, and I would just like to mention that we're not taking any action after we come out of an executive session, and we will just adjourn the meeting immediately following the executive session. And with that, Madam Chair, I move pursuant Colorado Revised Statute 24-6-402 for the board to go into executive session to just, 4EI.
1.
Is it a 1? Okay. Colorado Revised Statute 24-6-402, 4E1. For the board to go into executive session to discuss negotiations and status of the search for the county manager being conducted by Columbia LTD.
Second.
Are you sure?
Yes.
It has been moved and seconded to go into executive session as just described. With the note, there will be no action taken following this. After our executive session, we will come in and adjourn the meeting. Further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner McFall.
Aye.
Commissioner Grantham.
Aye.
Commissioner Bell.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.